Hi guys, Bolt here once again. I got a really interesting match for you guys that I'm playing together with Skiffic, and I am playing as the 5th Blinde while Skiffic is playing as the 1st Armored. We're up against the 35th and the 79, so it's going to be quite an interesting battle here. So what I'm trying to do in this match, right off the bat, or straight off the bat, immediately at the start, let's just not use any fancy words, is to do a flank on the left side and cut off the opponent on the left here by moving in 2 commando units and an Mchl recon unit. And the main purpose of that is to help Skiffic, because he's also playing armored, and you know, the 35th is obviously gonna go there. So I'm trying to help him out by blocking off reinforcements so that he can spend all of his units to quickly secure that area. After that he will do much better with his tanks. Meanwhile on the right side I have Dragon Paras. These are recon units, pretty good units. It's basically a scout unit. They have a nice little sniper rifle and a couple of submachine guns, and really good recon abilities as well. So the very good goes into excellent the moment they stop, because they have the GSR trait. We have a couple of group anti-char. Since I know that I'll probably be up against the 79, I'm going heavy on anti-infantry or anti-tank infantry. So we have a couple of those squads going there. I buy Mirage Cluster just to make sure. And we immediately do send it out on the left side, because Acid is moving a lot of units into the left, and he is, as I said, the 35th. So I'm going to be targeting the BM2s or BMD2s, and hopefully also take out that command. So on the right side, the group anti-char are going into this little patch of woods here. We have our recon line set up. We have a Roland coming up. We have 2 mortars that are going to be tasked with smoking the area so that I can get my anti-tank infantry closer. And we have a 3rd guy being spawned in. So on the left side here, well, Skiffic is having a really interesting battle. Terrier Paras, SAS Patrol, these guys are really nice too. Sniper rifles and satchels. More Terrier Paras, more SAS Patrol. So that is kind of his starting combo, it seems. Terrier Paras with the Carl Gustav and SAS Patrols with snipers and satchels. So it's actually a really good combination. Now I am helping him out with a Roland 3. Because he's just going fully on infantry here, just to make sure that he takes it. So I donate a nice little Roland for him. Now on the right side here, RC is moving a couple of BMP-1Ps with Metis teams. Basically everything here has 80 gems on it. A T80 BVK and a T80 BV being spawned in. So that is definitely not something that we can deal with if we just have some AMXs. Now speaking of AMXs, the only one I call in here is an AMX-30B2 command. And we heavily micro this guy. We move it back and forth through the smoke to take out these guys and just make sure that we keep it alive, because, well, we need to contest it, because right now they are +4. Group anti-char making their way to the right side. Mortars are also moving up. So slowly but surely we're getting into position. Now speaking of position, the Super Pumas with the commandos are getting in position as well. As I said, these guys are tasked with blocking reinforcements to our left side there, to that giant urban combat area. And that is going to do quite a lot. I think my timing was also perfect, because I kind of timed it in a way that they don't have any units here the moment I land. So he just called in a bunch of units, a lot of Spetsnaz being called in, and those are expensive. 80 points plus 20 on the gas, that's 100 points per unit. So these commandos are going to have a good time. I wish I had an airborne supply so that I could keep these guys supplied and stuff. So that's going to be one modification to this battle group. Now on the right side, the VAP-T20s do get spotted by the BRM and the T80. So we do lose one of these guys, unfortunately. But I quickly call in a cluster, and we damage that T80 BVK quite a bit. So not the worst little loss there. But yeah, in neutral mode you can see that Acid definitely has more units here. A lot of BMDs, even an Mi-8 rocket. And that's going to be a big problem. So he does have some more infantry coming up, including a Chieftain Mark 9. Pretty good little tank there to have. But here we go. So 4 Spetsnaz teams, 400 points, plus the U-23s of 40 points each. That's 160, so that's 560 points total. And look at that ambush. That's 100 points gone. That's 200 points. That's 3 and 400 points gone just like that. That is the Spetsnaz reinforcements destroyed. And I bet you if those guys made it into the town, they would have probably wiped the floor with these terriers. So that is working like a charm, and that is enabling Skiffic to keep reinforcements coming. He has 4 more Terrier Paras coming in to reinforce, and acid is completely cut off from the zone. So that is one way you can make use of the map for your advantage. Don't just play the conquest points. Do something like this, because you never know how much of an effect it's going to have. So we have some BMD2s also coming in. Commandos down to their last RPGs. We still get some nice hits here. So ZU, unfortunately, was picked for one of those RPGs. But we do take out a BMD2, and we take out 2 of those with Desaniki squads. And guess what? There's even a command coming in from Acid. I don't know if he's actually noticing all of this, because he's losing a lot of units here. And there goes a BMD2 command. So that did amazingly. And these guys were high levels. They weren't level 10 or anything like that. Or, well, level 10 isn't really low. But they weren't low levels. They were quite high levels. And, yeah, it just worked out really well. He did finally spot this. But the damage has already been done. Look at Skiffic. He has now a 3rd convoy moving in. And we've basically stopped Acid from reinforcing this 3 full turns. And that is just bleeding Acid dry over here. He is just... He can't reinforce anything. It's doing really good. Over here, we are starting our smoke attack here. We have Group Anti-Char moving forward through the smoke. If I get close enough with the double Appeal-Ass on these guys, we're gonna do some damage. Alright, let's see what we got here. So there is a tank here, BVK. One of the tanks did get destroyed, I believe. I'm not quite sure where that guy went. We might have destroyed it sometime. Not entirely sure. There's basically one tank, T80 BVK. There's a couple of BMP1s with Metis teams coming up. But in general, we have a really good little foothold on the map. Now commandos, Eclaireurs, they're really low on RPGs. The commandos are completely out. Eclaireurs still have 3 on the L rack, but that's not going to do that much damage, unfortunately. So Skiffic is doing an all-out assault here to try to control the zone before my units kick the bucket, because they will eventually get destroyed. A really cool thing I could have done is move these helicopters back and save these guys. That would have been really, really cool. And that is one thing I want to try next time. I want to do like a cool little medevac mission, or maybe even a resupply mission. So yeah, Metis teams, I mean, not the best, but 17 AP versus 13 front armor, that is going to do quite a bit of damage. If you have a really strong tank, it only does 1 HP damage, but against these guys, yeah, it's going to do quite a bit. That actually did 2 HP there, so you want to watch out for that. So yeah, we have another smoke mission being put down here to block out this BVK. I did notice this tank before, and that is doing really good for blocking off the line of sight here, tremendously. So the group anti-char are moving forward. CAPT 20s are basically just going to hang out here. But in the meantime, we have our opponent also doing an airborne attack. So we have a couple of MI8s with rockets, and we have an MI8 with Ras-Cal teams. Now we do lose a Mirage and a Harrier cluster. Could have been worse, could have been worse. But our AA is definitely a bit, you know, a little bit lacking here. We have a Roland 3, we have a Mistral, but that is it. So we do call in an AMX-13 DCA and another Roland to make sure that we have plenty of anti-air coverage. Roland 3, a little bit disappointing today. We do get a nice hit on the MiG-31, but the MiG-31 has 40% ECM, so it's kind of nuts. Roland 3's accuracy is 65, so that's 10%, 6, 12, 24% less. So that drops it down to 41. Yeah, 41%. Kinda crazy. But he does land a nice little hit on the MI8s, and they're now kind of broken, shattered, stunned, whatever you want to call it. And we have a nice little Mistral here. The MI8s are actually pretty good too. Some of them have ECM. Not these guys, but these ones. No, also not these ones. I'm pretty sure, yeah, some of the MI8s have actual ECM. I kind of forgot which one it is, but if you go into the 35th and get the recon units and the MI8s, they have ECM, and they have a lot of rockets too. So it's a wonderful unit to have. So yeah, group anti-char, as you can see, completely annihilate the T80 BVK. These guys are just charging forward, going after him. And with that, we also move in our tanks, including our command tank, because this guy is kind of messed up. So there we go, Eclaireurs on their last stand here, Mi-24 and T-64s just being a real problem. And there goes the last of that. But look at what that accomplished. we were able to take over the entire left flank just like that. Because otherwise, I wonder what would have happened otherwise. I think having those Spetsnaz reinforcements would have hurt Skiffic quite a bit. I'm sure he would have been able to take it back on the left, but that would have definitely cost a lot more manpower than necessary. So yeah, on the right side we have our AMXs moving forward. Group anti-chars have really proved themselves here. They're getting the veterancy buff from the command, so that is also going to be quite nice. And basically we are just reinforcing the right flank now. We have a couple of chasseur teams coming up. They are tasked with basically setting up shop right here. There's an enemy recon still chilling here from the attack from earlier. So we're getting a lot of units to basically just set up on the right side here in case they try to do anything on that flank. Rover Milans, I've never really used these before, but they're actually doing pretty damn good. Mi-24 also, that could be a little bit of a problem. Yeah, his AA is kind of lacking. What does he have? He has tracked rapiers. I mean, they're not the worst, but they could definitely be, you know, there's better AA. Really nice range on helicopters though, 3175. That is really the that's the good thing about them. Because other than that, they're kinda bad, especially, you know, considering the reload time and stuff. I mean, 5 seconds is actually not too bad. 2 seconds aiming time is also not horrible. Yeah, everything is good except the accuracy and the range on aircraft. The range on helis is amazing. If the accuracy was 60%, that would have been bussin'. But it's actually, you know, it's actually not that bad. You can't have really good units in every tab of every battle group. Now, speaking of that, artillery is definitely the way RC wants to go. So 4 122s, also a fob right there. Me moving a recon to his base might have been a good idea. Normally I do that because people don't protect their flanks, and as you can see, that is completely right. We at least have a recon there. And these helis are actually also keeping an eye on the left flank. But yeah, that artillery is going to be quite nasty. It was firing on the Roland here, luckily we did move it. And we do buy our own artillery. So we have one AMX AUF-1 coming up, and we have another one that is in the back of my mind. Because when we do counter battery, we definitely want to overwhelm the enemy. Now on the left side, Grad being pushed in, we have Nonas being spawned in as well. Challenger Mark II battling against Rasvetka, but there's not really a lot of enemy units here. There's a BMD-2 with some SN Nikis. There's one tank, another tank being repaired in the back. And there goes that BRM. Really nice little kill with the rover. Really cheap unit, 45 points for 24 AP. Super cost effective. So yeah, the first AMX AUF-1 was purchased, the second one is being spawned in right now. I have some commandos, because I wanted to try something else with these guys. I want to do another airborne attack on one of these zones with these guys, which was this zone. But yeah, it's going to be a painful one. T80UD destroyed by the Brennis. They're being super cost effective here. Really, like, decent accuracy when static. The AP is not too bad. I mean, 18 AP is... You know, there's worse tanks out there. The main thing about the French tanks is the autocannon. So yeah, on the right side, the Mi-24V is trying to kind of... I don't know what it's trying to do. We have 2 Mistrals here, luckily. But that was right on time. And we have a couple of Chasseurs and AMX-10s with autocannons to control this flank. So we get an immediate hit on that, bringing it down to 6 HP. And Mistral does 4 HE damage, or HP damage. Actually, it's 5. But since that guy's armored, I guess it does a little bit less. But yeah, because of that, it'll need 3 direct hits on it most of the time. MiG-31M going after our Mirage. Luckily, we do take it out, but we lose it to a MiG-29. MiG-29 flies straight over AA. We do a ton of damage with the DCAs, but the Rolands are on a cooldown. Did we actually manage to take it out? Nope, it survives. Here's the counter battery. One of the D30s is immediately taken out. These guys were harassing my AA quite a bit. But these guys are now quite messed up, so that was a successful little counter battery. And we're gonna keep that going. We have more where that came from. The chasseurs moving up here, Spetsnaz GRU, really not a problem at close range, especially if you have, you know, at least 2 squads. Then they kind of just melt. They melt real quick. Now the next battery for the fire mission that they are giving is going to be quite a painful one here. Roland is getting quite bullied. Not having a good time. But in general, we're kind of just vibing. We're +4 right now. That initial attack on the left did wonders for the left side. And me using that smoke to assault the corner here. That really kind of just turned the tide on his armored units. Now more counter battery coming in. The D30 getting absolutely smacked over here. This guy's on 1 HP. I wonder if we actually took out more than one. I'm not quite sure if we did. And all these are kind of missing right now. Oh, there we go. We got a couple of direct hits. Ooh, there's a nice one. Does that one do the trick? Yep. Alright, well that's 2 of the D30s taken out. Very nice. Yeah, the AMX is really good. Probably one of my favorite artillery pieces. So let's look at the left here. We have a fresh low attack from Skific on some Descent Cheeky Breekies. That's gonna be quite an easy fight, I think. The Fox here getting absolutely bullied by AT-Gems. Poor little guy. Speaking of AT-Gems, there's a lot of AT-Gems here from Skific's side. Parmalans, Rover... not the Rover Milans. Yeah, a lot of Rover Milans, actually. 45 points. Really, really effective. If they hit, they'll do a ton of damage. So on the right side, we have moved in a mortar, so the plan was initially just to put in those helis into this zone, but his Tunguska and Osa are just not smoked off. So that kind of hurts. So they're definitely going to do some damage there. So he's trying to come back to the zone here. He has some Pulmachikis and Spetsnaz holding in the forest. But we're moving chasseurs, and I don't think they're actually going to spot us. We're kind of just moving right past them. That was a really good little sneaky preaky push there. So our AA situation is quite good now. We have the MX-13 and the Roland also reinforcing the front. And at this point, Acid leaves the game. So the AI takes over, and you can immediately tell that the AI is planning to do some drastic things. Unfortunately, he did leave, but yeah, he lost the zone. It's gonna be really hard to come back from it, but I mean, he could have clawed his way back to a corner if he used a lot of smoke and stuff, because he has known us. There's Grads. He has, like, they have, Buratinos. One Buratino here will delete everything. Another one here will delete the rest. So there's a lot of options that, you know, there's a lot of options to fight back, but a lot of people just kind of give up if the initial push failed. Speaking of failed, here's a failed push from me. So the commandos are getting absolutely annihilated by the Tunguska and the Osa. Somehow these guys are hitting everything. Unfortunately. A couple of these guys do survive, but, you know. In general, they're just not having a good time. I wonder if they actually took out anything at all. Probably didn't. These helicopters are definitely a bit of a problem there. If we took out a Tunguska, that's a win. That's a win in my book. That's 400 points or something wasted, but, you know, still. Alright, we took out a supply truck. Okay, okay. A nice little cheeky seed run there, going for the Osa. I spawned in 3 seaplanes and just flew them all over the front line. Luckily, we do avoid most of the MiG-31's missiles. So it's not, actually not a loss there. But all 3 of those seaplanes actually missed everything. But yeah, that is basically the end, because after this, the other member also leaves the game. So pretty good little match. We had some interesting pushes left and right. We had a nice little attack on this area here. We did a nice little methodical push on the right side. Definitely not a bad match at all. I really enjoyed that. So I want to see what our kill list looks like, because we did some really interesting things in this match, especially those commandos on the left side together with the recon unit. That did some damage. That really did some damage. Yeah, not much really happens for the rest of the match. We're kind of just waiting for the points to run out. before that happens, our opponent does leave, which I definitely don't blame him for. But yeah, the French 5th. Super good. Really love playing as those guys. So yeah, 5,800 kills, 2,035 losses. Really not that bad. Commandos, as you can see here, these guys did some damage, destroying so many Spetsnaz, even a command unit. Mchl's destroying a Spetsnaz team as well. And another commandos that we had back there, destroying a couple of those gases. But if we just... oh, we can't go into the profile part here, but... yeah, definitely the commandos got most of the kills here. That is 100 points. So 1, 2, 3, 300. I mean the BMDs, let's say that's 100 points too, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ERDM, that's 600. Yeah, commandos definitely won the game there. But yeah, really good game. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Playing together with Skific against Acid and RC. Good game, gentlemen. And I'll see you guys back in the next one. Take care.